Live from the heart of New York City, it's the morning show with Mike and Juliet. Monday. How safe is spring break? Inside the terrifying new trend in date rape, as we reveal how sexual predators prey on unsuspecting co-eds and brave survivors share their stories.
Alrighty, next up, spring break is underway. Oh boy, do I remember that. Thousands of college kids heading to the beach for a week of, well, I mean, you could say whatever you want, but it's basically nonstop drinking and debauchery, and mom and dad aren't around.
It's going to happen. As a parent, I just want the week to be over. But this rite of passage has become a dangerous one for a lot of co-eds, as authorities say the partying is getting more and more extreme and out of control, with sex crimes on the rise.
It's a chance for young people to break out and let loose. An opportunity for fun in the sun on one of those wild, fabled school vacations. It's a time of no parents and no rules. But for some, it can mean no tomorrow. She was a high school senior on a graduation trip with her classmates. 3 years ago, on the last night of her excursion to Aruba, Natalie Holloway was partying with her pals at a local hotspot. Despite the protest of friends, she left later with well-known Aruban party boy, Jorn Vandersloot. She has never been seen since. Although no one ever has been charged in the case, it is widely believed Natalie died on the beach that night. The result, most likely, of a reaction to having been drugged earlier. Listen to what Jorn Vandersloot, admittedly the last person to see her that fateful night, admitted recently in a conversation recorded on a hidden camera.
And all of a sudden, Patrick, like a movie, all those things she did, shaking. Yeah, a lot. So I was like, what is all this?
Did you try to resuscitate her?
Of course, I tried everything, man. I tried to shake her. I was shaking the
Later, some argue, Jorn practically confessed to drugging and having sex with Natalie on the beach, and worse, getting away with it.
I just think that I'm incredibly lucky that she's never been found. Because if they found that girl, I'm in deep.
Imagine being Natalie's mom and hearing that. That was what Beth Twitty had to endure. This is how she reacted.
Look what they've done. Look what they've done to Natalie. Look what they've done to our country. Look what they've done to
you.
Look what they've done.
Beth, I'm sure, would give anything to have one more day with her daughter. And for the rest of the parents whose kids go on vacations, you hope things work out right. You bring your children up right. You remind them to do the right thing. And after that, you can only pray you'll have tomorrow together.
And with us this morning to talk about the dangers of spring break are two best friends who co-founded Unite for Change, a website devoted to educating and protecting students from sexual assault. Welcome back, Kelly Addington and Becca Teeter.
Good to have you back on the show. And an emergency room nurse who has seen it all from Panama City Beach, Florida, Carol Typelis. Thank you for being here.
Also joining us from Panama City Beach is the Deputy Chief of the Panama City Police Department, Beach Police, excuse me, Major David Humphreys.
Look how beautiful it is in Panama City, Florida. You have no idea what's going to be going on that beach here in a few hours, probably for this whole week. Kelly, it's so great the two of you are here because we're to try to keep people safe this week while they're on spring break. Tell us a little bit about what happened to you, why you have expertise in this area.
Well, when I was in college, I was sexually assaulted by an acquaintance, someone that I was dating. And the process that I went through from becoming a victim to turning into survivor was very difficult for me. And looking back on it, there are things that I could have done differently, which is why as soon as I felt whole again as a person and I felt complete and I was ready to speak out, that's exactly what I wanted to do.
How did you know you were sexually assaulted?
Well, I found out that I was pregnant, and that's how I discovered that I was sexually assaulted.
And you had not had sex in over a year.
Yeah, exactly.
College students, I mean, I definitely remember that we feel like we're untouchable. We don't lock our doors, we go out drinking, and we'll take beers from whoever.
Right.
But this is a big problem, especially on spring break, because it's kind of like that's when you really just kind of throw all caution to the wind down there. I mean, nothing can happen down in spring break, and actually things are happening. what are your biggest concerns with spring break? Why do you think there's such a problem there?
I think it's exactly what you just said. When we're on spring break or we're on a vacation, we sort of throw our regular values out the window. And we think, oh, you know, what goes on in Mexico stays in Mexico type thing. And I think if we could educate ourselves beforehand and really talk about the preventative measures, that sexual assault is 100% preventable.
It is.
I've never seen like girls that from my school doing wet T-shirt contests, and these are like really nice girls, and we'd be going, what? It's,
well,
it's you know, it's
well, like Becca says, if you're not doing it at your home in your hometown, you better not be doing it down in Florida or Cancun.
Absolutely. I think it's really important that, and Kelly and I don't want people to be like, oh my gosh, we got to go home, never go on spring break and have a wonderful time.
Right.
We had fantastic spring breaks. It's just really important that you make a plan and that you look out for one another because, as Kelly said, in almost any situation, you can prevent sexual violence.
Let's go through some tips. Obviously, one of the big ones is, you know, when you're sitting there and you're talking, you're socializing, you have these big plastic cups, and you don't watch them the whole time, and that's when they throw the date rape drugs in.
Absolutely. And, you know, watching your drinks sounds so simple, but I mean, think about it. When we go to the bathroom, Mike, you might not understand, but when we go to the bathroom, ladies, we leave our drinks right on the counter, and then we go into the bathroom and do our thing. I mean, because we think we're in the bathroom, what could happen? But it's as simple as that.
Well, how about that, you know, it's spring break and all, also a guy brings over a Cosmo. Here, I want you to have this. You're so pretty.
Well,
just drink
thank you so much.
Don't do that.
Clearly, you don't understand who I am because Cosmos are not my thing. Let's go to the bar and get a beer instead.
Why a beer?
Simple. Because I don't want to drink your Cosmo because I didn't see it poured, and I'm not sure if it was tampered with before I got it. So I'm going to be cool because I don't want to lose my mojo, and I'm going to tell you that I don't like Cosmos, and I prefer something else so that I can watch you walk to the bar and see the bartender pour it.
You can take the cap,
and I can still be cool.
You're going to take the cap off the bottle yourself,
or watch the bartender.
I'm telling you though, I know girls, and we get down there, and I mean, we say, okay, let's be responsible now, but we'll get down there, and we'll all be running around, and you know, a guy's going to come and give us a drink, and we'll say, oh yeah, I'm sure it's not going to happen to us.
And you're right. I mean, that's a natural response, especially if we're all drinking and we're all partying, which is why you have to make a plan. And let's say, you know, Kelly always jokes it's easy to be the one who's the designated sober person the night after you drank really heavily because, you know, you're a little rough the morning after and it keeps you going, so you're kind of on water duty. But if you're willing to party like a rock star for 4 days and then be cool for one night, you can really make a difference.
And you got to snap out of everybody. You got to listen to these warning signs that they're saying and don't do what you normally do. And here's one you guys talked about. If you have whatever kind of drink it is and it has a little salty and it's not a margarita, what does that mean if it tastes too salty?
Well, if it tastes too salty, that could be that there are drugs in the beverage. Now, you're not always going to get that, but if you do, I think the biggest warning sign and what happened in my case is when I was drinking, I did all of a sudden feel extremely disoriented. And I only had a couple of drinks, and I started to feel really fuzzy, and I did not listen to my intuition. And that's what I could have done differently.
But a lot of times friends, especially when you're younger in college and high school, you see like one of your friends getting sick and you say, oh, I'll just put him to bed. Or, you know, or I'll just leave him alone. They can go lay down.
You should never leave someone who's overly intoxicated alone.